is 9 for Thunderdome question and answers.
Yeah.
John Witherspoon says, John, I'm planning to fence the end hilltop of the property where the barn, dominium, and animal pens are. This is a large area, and I'm wondering the best way to start out. My plan is to put a large circle around the hilltop here area. Then, as time permits, add interior fence lines to make different quadrants and containments. A large portion of the expense is having a bulldozer-sized forestry mulcher cut 6 to 8 foot pass around the upper part of the property to be able to lay the outer fence. I saw, he sent me photos yesterday, that bulldozer is there with the forestry mulcher. It showed up yesterday.
Those mulchers look like fun to play with.
Yeah, you just drive up the trees and it sheds them down. And
yeah, it's like one of those things,
yeah.
Like boys like things that explode and that kind of stuff.
The plan is to get this cut in and put the outer fence layer and then add inner layers as we see how they are needed. This will let the Big Pyrenees travel the property area and establish a defense for the rest of the livestock. Does this seem like a good plan? Yeah, I mean, I think that's basically what we did. Yeah, I think that sounds like a great plan. You are only limited by money. That's the only thing you're limited by. And anytime you cut trees down, it's going to be a decade until trees are back up, and they won't be as big. So I try to not cut down any big trees. We just kind of run our lines in and out of them, or just kind of move our fence to where we don't have to really cut big trees down. But yeah, that sounds awesome, John. And then put up T-posts and cattle panels with zip ties for 6 months to a year, and see how often through the day you're like, man, I wish I hadn't put this fence here. Like, especially if, like, for your inside fencing and stuff. Like, they were talking about access when we put the swales in, and I'm like, I ain't worried about access. We'll just drive home with a four-wheeler. You won't. They're big, and they are, I do find myself, I'm like, man, I got to walk around this thing all over again. Like, I did it just 10 times this morning already. It's a lot of extra walking when you put in permanent structures, fencing, and swales and stuff like that.
That's like what we were talking about. I think it was last week. Somebody was talking about getting a survey done, and I was like, it's probably not a bad idea to get it done before you buy the land. So you can
you almost have to do a survey before you buy the land.
So you can see everything that plan everything out and see what's going on with it.
Plus, when your survey guy does the survey, we've had 5 surveys done on this property, and every single time our survey lines somehow move, right? Yeah. And when somebody on the property next to us does a survey, their line always comes over. And then when my guy does a survey, my line. So where is the fucking survey line really at, Red Moose Farm, what's your absolute favorite meal? Like your death row dinner. Thanks for the content. Can't wait for SRF this weekend. Man, I like a bone-in Chicago ribeye with a lot of fat on it. But I like sushi also. I don't know, man. I like lamb chops. Josh really spoiled it for us. Like, Josh cooked meals that were just at such a level, you just almost can't go out to a restaurant and get them. We would go to, high-end, super expensive restaurants, and we'd be like, man, this is bullshit. Josh makes lunch better than this every day.
When I saw that, I was thinking, I don't really think it has to do with what you're eating, but how it was made and who made it.
A lot of it. And the difference between a good meal and an exceptional meal oftentimes is literally 1 minute. It's 1%. 1% more effort. Like Josh would make half chicken, and when he would serve it to you, it would be so good that I was excited when we went out to this place in Nashville, and I actually ordered half chicken, and then I got it, and I'm like, man, this is some bullshit. This is nothing like what Josh made. And Josh said it's because they waited too long to serve it, right? Mm-hmm. They didn't serve it when it was ready to go. They served it when the rest of the people's meals on the table were ready. So by the time you got it, there was no like crunch. It just was not the same thing. You have like a 2-3 minute window to serve that to where you're going to get the best with it.
Probably also keeping it under a heat lamp makes it worse too. Like if you have it sit, that's one thing.
Yeah, is it under a heat lamp? Is it under a salamander? Like what are they heating it with? Mm-hmm. Jay Davenport, John, when it comes to adding people to your group, how would you have the conversation with a prospective member and their family? Number one, I'm not talking to their family. I'm talking to one person. One person has the final vote. And if I have to deal with 2 people, we're not talking to those 2 people. That's not how that works. There has to be somebody that has the deciding factor, especially if it's somebody that I'm doing something. Which one of you am I speaking to? Who do I need to talk to? Because I'm not having the conversation with 2 people. That's just not how it's never going to work that way. And I'm not having conversations, right, with people. If it's to the point where we're having that conversation, we have spent time together, we have done things together, we know each other, and like there's plenty of times dudes come in here to ask for work, right? And they do all the perfect shit to get the job. They never do anything to keep the job. And I look at all of this like that, right? They can song and dance to get their way into your community or your group, or to have, to be able to use your assets and stuff and help them achieve their goals and things. But when things are really tough, like you don't know what that's going to look like, right? If you let some dude have access to your property, right? Is he constantly improving your property, or is he just fucking sitting there and he's only doing improvements and adding things to it when somebody's watching him? Because when things are easy and the power runs and the water runs and everything's good, if they're not performing now, they're definitely not going to perform then. It's just not going to happen. So I don't know, man. But I'm not talking to their family. It's like you can talk to their family after, but you have one person who is the leader. That's just how it always has to be. Josh Strivers, where does Amanda get arrested? We'll leave that one for Amanda. Andre Snow, what does your setup for your rabbits look like when you are not tractoring them? We have a small barn, so I'm going to build their cages and hang them from our barn beams. Thanks so much again for the questions and answers. So we used to have them hung, and hanging them, they tend to sag eventually. I mean, you could definitely use different wire and stuff, but the caging we use is very inexpensive cages from Tractor Supply. They're $35-40 a cage, and the wire flooring is not super heavy gauge. So you can go to KW Cages and definitely buy $150 to $200 per hole cages. Hole means one door, a hole, right? That's your hole. That rabbit's hole is the cage. And you can do that, or you can buy $35 cages. I use sawhorses. We have a building supply place up the road here has like wooden sawhorses, and we painted them. We sealed them all up, so because they're going to sit in, I mean, no matter how wide they are and hang over, there's still going to be rabbit shit and urine. That ground is just going to wick that. So I put them on sawhorses. I put 2x4s under them. You can use 4x4s if you want to spend more money. And I hit the cage. I set those so that just the edge of the cage is like right in the middle of the 2x4. So that supports that weight all the way across. And I run them, I don't know, some of them are 8 feet, some of them are 12 feet, some of them are probably even 16 feet wide. And I set all of my cages on those. And then there's dirt underneath, and the rabbits shit, and it makes this big just row of rabbit manure. I have some right now up there. I'm probably going to move everything so that there's cement trays underneath. You can use the rabbit trays. The cement trays hold more, and I think the cement trays are probably less expensive for the volume, definitely. Right now I have a hen that got in there, a mama chicken, and had 2 babies, and she has taken those rows of rabbit manure and literally it's a disarray in there. It is wrecked in there. I need to catch that chicken today and put her in a kennel with her 2 chicks so that we can take hard rakes and smooth all that over and start over with the rabbit manure. It's all mixed in with because we put wood chips down kind of where we walk, and then the rabbit manure is over here. So I don't want to mix all of those wood chips in with that manure and then have that mixed in my planting beds, in my raised beds. I have no problem top dressing with wood chips. That works fine. And then they break down and become soil. But when you mix them in, you always hear people squealing all the time when you put wood chips down, like, it's stealing your nitrogen. And then maybe it will if it's mixed in. So I don't want to do that.
You said you're thinking about doing cement trays. Are you pouring cement? Or
No. Cement mixing trays. They're these black.
Mixing. Okay, yeah.
They're these black trays.
I was going to say, it didn't sound like that was more convenient or cheaper, but now I get it.
Yeah. Mark Sutcliffe. Hello, John. Thanks for making the membership videos. I know it takes a lot of your time. My question, what is your favorite childhood memory? I don't fucking know.
I don't remember a lot of my childhood.
I don't know. Like I'm not busy thinking about the past. I'm not busy. Like I don't know. Like fuck. I mean, when we turn this off, I'm sure all kinds of fun things will come to mind. But I don't know. I got more important shit to fucking think about. I mean, they do take a lot of time. We have a ton of people here right now. Have already shown up on Thursday. And then really we're working today and tomorrow. I have a full crew here working. So we've already laid out all the plants for the planting install tomorrow. Billy and Michelle just ran to pick up a couple of more trees. We're now planting all 3 swales are being planted in instead of just the top one. So yeah, there's a fucking ton of people already here. Just
Are you guys, so they're going to get like Home Depot's trees, not like those sticks that you mail order that are like, you know, the little...
No, we're doing Lowe's trees, Lowe's, okay. Home Depot,
yeah, so like
Walmart, Tractor Supply. I found, like, I bought like trees from really expensive tree farms and shit. There's not a fucking one of them alive on the property. The trees that have done the best on the property came from Lowe's, Home Depot, Walmart.
Well, I was just curious about the maturity of them, because those are a lot bigger than what you were doing.
They're way ahead, for sure. Yeah, they are. They're
but that's okay to do that? Okay.
Yeah. Billy likes little ones because it puts the hair roots down, the fiber roots and stuff, but we're going to put them in right now. It's starting to cool off. The leaves are going to fall off. All the energy is going to go into the root structure. And then as soon as it goes through winter and starts to warm up, it's going to start really putting those roots are going to start chasing before they're even making buds and leaves and stuff up top.
That's cool.
Yeah, they'll come in really well. Now is really the time to put trees in.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, not in the summer, because in the summer the tree is really struggling.
Yeah.
Aaron Kinder, follow up from my last question around introducing your child to slaughtering animals for food. Oh, good. Were you spanked as a child with a hand, belt, or other object? If so, how did this impact you punishing your kids? What are your thoughts on corporal punishment? I was spanked and don't think I will spank my kids simply for the fear it gave me of my parents. I don't want my kid to be afraid of me. I want them to respect me and how that actions have consequences. Would you give a teacher permission to spank your kids? My wife enjoys listening when you answer questions. Yes, I was spanked as a kid. Yes, I spanked my kids. I was never fearful of my parents. I'm definitely not fearful of my parents. That makes absolutely zero fucking sense to me whatsoever. When I read that, I actually said, what the fuck are you talking about? But they're your kids, right? So you raise your I know Jack Spirko says he never spanked his kids. I've heard him say that many times. When your kids do something dumb, smack them on the ass. And with that said, I've also I'm out in public and I see kids throwing tantrums and shit. My kids never fucking did that shit. My kids were never running around. My kids never leave my fucking side. Everywhere we went, when we go to restaurants, people would compliment and go, man, your kids are so well behaved. We didn't even know they were in the restaurant. And I would just look at them and I go, we hit them really hard. I said it jokingly. We never hit our kids really hard. But yes, my kids have been spanked when they fucking did something stupid, or if you don't do this, this will be your repercussion. Yes, I did spank my kids. Would I give the teachers permission? Fuck no, I wouldn't. Your kids shouldn't even have teachers. Like, that's literally what I think. Your kids should not be at public school. Public school is full of people that hate your way of life. So absolutely, I would not give fucking some stranger, because that's a stranger is what that is. Are you hanging out with those motherfuckers? Are you, hey, kid's teacher, would you like to go and have dinner with my wife and I? Why don't you bring your husband? Because that's not fucking happening, right? Those are not friends. Those are people that are there for a job, and most of them fucking hate you and your way of life. They are programming your children.
If anybody's interested in, go check out Project Veritas. They're deep in the middle of that stuff right now with hidden cameras of teachers just talking about how they love programming your kids.
Yeah.
It's like, I think they're getting sued over it, but the teachers are saying what they're saying. It's on camera.
It's all programming, man. Don Stinson and I were talking about, have you seen the thing about the NASA, when the Challenger blew up?
Recently?
No, maybe it wasn't Challenger. In 1984,
Mm-hmm.
a space shuttle blew up
Yeah.
with a school teacher, Kelly McGivern or whatever
Yeah,
her
it was
name
on,
was.
it was on camera.
Right? Do you know all those people are alive?
Yeah, I've seen the like where you can see
The one
pictures
chick that the school she became a lawyer
Mhm.
and has a law firm that's named Challenger or something.
Yeah.
And then the other one of the dudes has some company, and his fucking logo for the company is the space shuttle like flying out of control on fire and shit. But in 1980, when I was in 4th grade, I don't know if it was 1980, whenever the accident was, the explosion. In 4th grade, they stopped school a couple hours into school. They stopped school and rolled in a fucking audio video cart with a television and hooked it up, and we watched the fucking all day long. Watched the Challenger, the space shuttle blow up. Right? Mm. Why is that necessary for kids? What was the importance of stopping every school child in the United States and have them watch this over and over and over and over and over?
So they remember that
because they're programming you. Yeah. What were they programming you for? I don't know. But the fact the fact is that it did happen. Come in. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but that's and he said the same. He's like, yeah, us too. Stopped class and brought that in and showed us the space shuttle exploding because they're programming you with some shit. Why does a child need to know that? What does it fucking matter?
So that's been a topic of conversation in like the last 5 years, because you notice a lot of NASA merch like at Target and stuff like that. Like NASA was dead almost, and then all of a sudden they're like the hottest selling shirt out there.
Do you know that NASA has never shown you any actual footage? Do you know it's all interpolation? It's all interpretation. It's all fucking green screen and video.
Yeah. So
nothing they show you is actually through a camera lens.
What pushed me over the edge for that was there's a video of them. They're supposed to be so far away from Earth they can see the entire Earth, but somebody left the camera rolling and they pulled a piece of paper off of the window, and it turns out they were like the Earth was taking up so much of the window, like you couldn't see anything else, but they covered it to make it look like they were far away.
Man.
Yeah,
it's all horseshit.
Mm-hmm.
And then back to the school thing. The only thing I have to say about school is, how come you can't fucking turn on your phone and watch a camera? Why can't you see what's going on and being said to your kids in school? Mm-hmm. I can drop my dog off for the weekend and fucking see 24 hours a day what my dog's doing. You can drop your kids at daycare. How come fucking public school doesn't have cameras where you, as the fucking parent, would you give a teacher permission to spank your kids?
No.
Did you spank your kids?
Yes.
Do you think your kids, were you spanked as a kid?
Very little.
Were you scared of your parents for it?
Because they spanked me?
Yeah. Are you scared of them now, and your relationship is different with your parents now because you were spanked as a kid?
I think I have more respect for them.
Do you think your kids are fearful of you now because you spanked them as a kid?
Hell no.
See, I had the opposite. I was spanked a lot, and it was funny because he asked like with objects and stuff. I always had the belt from my dad, and my mom would always start with her hand and hurt herself.
Right,
and then so she would get like a spoon or like
yeah.
A wooden
My mom
spoon
broke wooden spoons over my ass.
Exactly,
yeah.
Mine too. And so she brags about that now. And I didn't I haven't had to cross that bridge yet, and I don't know if I'm gonna be capable of doing it to two little girls, But I never thought that it was a problem. Once I became an adult, somebody told me that I was abused. And I was like, no, they tried to say, you don't realize what's going on. Mm-hmm. You were abused as a child. No, I wasn't.
Everybody wants to diagnose somebody.
Yeah, exactly.
Who told you were abused?
I don't remember. It was somebody, it was like in college or in a college class, or I was that age. I was like in my early 20s. And it like flabbergasted me because I was like, this is not abuse. Like the worst thing that happened is it gave me a high pain tolerance because I realized that if I could do whatever I want as long as I could sit through getting hit,
Yeah.
So like it wasn't like, I don't know, but.
Kyle R., is there a homesteading prepping skill that you feel has too much focus put on it, or one that is often not talked about that you feel is really important? I don't have a clue.
I just think, I'm not...
I think it depends where you are and what's right for you. Do what's right for you. So many times, like we were talking about this earlier today, people always tell you always hear all this shit that you can't do or things won't work. We've tried a lot of them and found they all fucking work, right? There's a few things that didn't work, right? But a lot of stuff people say that you can't do We've done all of it. So I mean, just try them, man. Stop taking advice from people that when you look at their shit, they're not doing what they're giving you advice on, right? So just be very careful whose advice you're taking. Any moron can go and print some shit now, and then somebody will buy it. And the real thing is, 90% of people will never execute. They might read it, they might have it, they might fucking look at it online, and then they're going to put their 2 cents in some bullshit online. 90% of the people haven't ever fucking done it. Find somebody doing what you want to do, and then look at what they did. That's what I would say.
I was gonna say, like, I just like your idea of trying to go without everything for a weekend, like turn everything off, walk away, whatever, and then you'll see what you need. You
right?
know?
Fucking, you know how many people haven't fucking been camping in their life?
Yeah.
Have never shit in the woods.
Uh-huh.
It's the same amount of people that never been fucking punched in the mouth. It's the same shit.
And
like
that's
kids grow up now. Like, we are raising fucking pussies. Your kids, you can't play fucking flag football, much less tackle football. You can't play fucking gun. I mean, we were shooting each other with BB guns as a kid. We were doing all kinds of shit. Now they'd want to put charges on kids for playing a fucking game. I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know.
I think it's important that you know how to talk to other people. You're talking about skill that that people are lacking. A lot of people think, oh, I'm going to homestead so I can just be a hermit, when in reality, sometimes you need to be able to speak to other people because they have something that you need, or you want to trade with them or barter with them, or you're sick, or you have a sick animal. And if you don't know how to speak to people in a manner where you can get your point across, then you're going to suffer without those things.
You might remember too that when times are good and somebody thinks you're an asshole,
yeah,
and then when you are really struggling when times are hard and you remained the asshole to them, they might just let you fucking die.
Yeah,
like they might just not help you. I don't know. I was gonna say something.
Amanda
you said something that.
Well, she said you said learn a skill, like how to talk to people and stuff, and that reminded me of one that I always talk about. It's learn how to drive different things. Like a lot of people don't even know how to use a manual transmission, let alone start a dirt bike or something like that. And that might be the only
That's a
thing
good
you
point.
have.
Yeah. The power, right? Turn your power off and see what you need. See what shit's important to you right now when the power's out and no longer works. Is that shit important? What do you wish you had? What did you not use at all? Go out camping, hike out, just hike out in the woods somewhere, and do, whether you're allowed to or not. Just go out there like a fucking bum or a transient and set up a little campsite and see all that bullshit you brought with you. See what you used and what you didn't use.
Hell, go into your backyard.
Now go somewhere a little further, right? But when you go do bushcrafting, right? That's what the word I'm looking for. When you go do bushcrafting and shit, you'll show up with your backpack and everything, and the instructor will be like, okay, leave all that bullshit in your car. All you're bringing is what's in your pockets. And you'll go out there and you will learn that you didn't need any of that shit. Like Davy Crockett and Daniel Boone and all them dudes, like somehow it's a very different world. We have not programmed ourselves that we can do that. Cody went with Russ Kolkman, Wetsuit Survival, and they went out to the range. It was snowing. They built little lean-tos, they heated up rocks, they were spearing fish, and they did everything off of this little Altoid survival kit. It just had some cordage, a blade, a couple matches in there, and they lived comfortably for like 3 days out in the fucking ice and snow, and they didn't bring any of their shit. So what we think is important and the things we amass and all this shit we think we have to have, you don't have to have it. And if you started at the base, it'd be nice to have this shit, but you still have all this other shit covered. But equipment and things, they never replace skill. And the more of one, the less you have to have of the other.
You might get the wrong equipment too, because it's marketed towards like prepping or whatever.
Oh, absolutely.
I always laugh with like the magnesium fire starters and stuff. They're like $5 a piece, but a big lighter is like $3. And if you're planning on needing fire, Why not get the one that works every time you push the button?
So you need both, because as soon as you get that Bic lighter in the water, it doesn't start anymore.
Yeah, I mean, but you can have a lot of... You know what I use is those little... They're like this big and you fill them with propane and they're torches.
Yes.
Because I don't want to hold that button down if I really needed light something.
I'm with you. Dunk it in the water.
Yeah, I completely agree with that.
I think you definitely need both.
Mm-hmm.
You need both. And know how to use it.
Yeah.
Because once I teach a kid how to use a ferrocerium rod and magnesium, that's with him for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
We've had 36-year-old dudes come in here to work that could not fucking make a lighter light. It's I'm like, look, is Ashton Kutcher, am I on punked? Like, what the fuck's going on? You're like, for real, dude didn't know how to use a lighter.
That happens to me a lot. Like when I'm with Annie, I'll just like look at her like, what am I supposed to say to this? Because this guy's a retard and he doesn't want to hear what I have to say, you know?
So
she like puts her hand on my leg and just starts talking.
Josh Strivers, he says, where does Amanda get her recipes for her tinctures? Have you all used any and got the results from them? I've been reading some of the Foxfire books, and there are some things in there that I don't know if I'd like to try. Thanks for the previous answers. So I would say that, remember, they used to use mercury to cure a lot of diseases, and you probably shouldn't put mercury anywhere on your body. So I don't know how far back your Foxfire books are. I think there's different iterations and volumes of them. But what's your answer?
I don't even know what a Foxfire book is.
It's a collective. It's kind of like the manual for the Boy Scouts. That's not what it is, but it's a series of books from like Davy Crockett time, I guess, is, you know, around somewhere around there, but maybe after there, early 1900s.
So I have gotten a lot of my recipes for the tinctures off of TikTok, of all places. I see something and I'm like, oh, that looks really cool, and then I put it into Google and I start searching it, and then put it into a different search engine, maybe DuckDuckGo or something else, and look at, okay, what is the medicinal use for, say, oregano? What can you do with it? What does it treat? How do you use it?
So what do you use it for?
So the only tincture I have drawn out so far is my oregano oil, and it is specifically for like antibacterial, antibiotic, antifungal.
Drawn out meaning what? You actually used it?
Meaning I have filtered the herb out of the oil, and now I have this concentrated oregano oil.
So have you used it?
Yes, I used it. I guess it's been 2 weeks now. I was having a diverticulitis flare. I started taking the oregano oil the very day that I figured that out. I was also taking fish antibiotics, which was giving me terrible, terrible diarrhea. I don't know if it was because of the antibiotics.
Because you don't eat food when you take them.
But I stopped taking the antibiotics after 3 days. I continued to take the oregano oil, and by day 5, I was pain-free.
She doesn't have diverticulitis. She snores, and sometimes I kick the shit out of her. Like, I kick her off the bed, and she wakes up on the floor. I'm surprised she doesn't realize what's going on.
I look like I've been kicked off the bed? I don't think so.
Yeah. She's a really loud snorer.
I am.
I put my fingers in her mouth.
So yeah, TikTok.
Jay Davenport had asked, John, when it comes to adding people to your group, how would you have the conversation with a prospective member and their family?
Oh, you don't want me to answer that.
No, answer it.
I'm not adding people to my group.
I said, first of all, we're not speaking to their family. Somebody has to be in charge. There has to be somebody that makes the fucking final decision. When there is a problem, and I have a problem with your family, which one of you do I speak to, right? Which one is it?
Yeah, if you don't have anything to bring to the table, you're not sitting at my table.
I'm staying Monday after SRF to look around for property. Could you and Amanda put your 2 cents in on anything I find if I send you what I end up with? Yeah, of course. Yeah, send it. I guess that's it.
Yeah, of course.
The big squirrel! Holy shit. It's a really big squirrel you got there. I like your really big squirrel. I'm going to need you to shave that thing.
Shit.
John and Amanda, what was something unexpected that you had learned from hosting SRF? And how did it benefit you other areas of your life and business? Oh, I don't know.
I know.
What?
You always wanted to be better next time. so you're constantly doing.
Yeah,
more.
it's more about accountability, right? We have to actually, because inherently I'm really lazy. I will sit and just do social media, I guess. So it's just literally to show accomplishment, especially at a 3-month, 4-month mark. All it takes is 30 minutes a day. You can have huge difference because the season's going to change too. So everything's going to look different, but you can accomplish things in 30 minutes. So if you're willing to put an hour or 2 hours a day into them, holy shit, it can become fucking completely different. And you don't have to do all these things. You just have to do one thing and then go to the next thing. You don't have to look at it as the aerial view, right? Just grab 6 by 6 feet or 10 by 10 feet. You know, that's 100 feet right there, and make that portion look different, and then go to the next portion. And when you take it bite by bite like that, man, it's fucking way easier, and it all is accumulative. It adds up so quickly. Vince Vega, any future plans to expand the property? There's nothing for sale immediately around us right now. Will we add some property? Yes. When the opportunity presents itself, we definitely will. There is nothing touching our borders right now that is for sale, though. So anything we do will have to be some disconnect between us. Drive strength. John, if for what reason you were only allowed to purchase from a single premium luxury good category, cars, watches, knives, homes, clothing, boats, etc., which category would you choose? Personally, I think I would have to go knives. I think that's I don't think those all really go together. There's definitely luxury knives, right? Because you can get a $50 knife, you can get a $10,000 knife. But when you start talking luxury cars, you know, you're 100,000, 300. Those are very different categories.
When I saw that, the first thing I thought was, if you have a boat, you have the luxury of throwing money away.
Yeah, I don't. And Cody said something about a boat. I'm like, I do not want to fucking.
Yeah, like to me, that's off the table. And a house isn't a luxury; it's almost a must.
It's an investment.
Yeah, you need, and all those are investments, but that'll be your best investment.
And if you do the house is going to make you money, or the property is going to make you money that will allow you to do the other things.
So that leaves like watches and knives.
And really, I haven't bought any luxury stuff in
a while.
I don't know, 3 years, 5 years maybe. Like the Toyotas are really nice, but I mean they're not luxury cars. I have a ton of Christian Louboutin shoes and Louis Vuitton shoes and Prada shoes, and I have tons of shoes. I don't wear them. I have fucking $1,200 shirt, right? I have Alexander McQueen shirts, and I have I have stacks of True Religion pants. I don't wear none of that shit, man. I literally wear this like 99% of the year. And if the only thing that changes here is maybe I put on pants, like that's what I wear. When we go out to a nice dinner, I'm wearing Cole pants and like a smart wool hoodie, you know, a smart wool hoodie. You know, and I like,
really
I want at least a quarter zip. So that it'll open up and vent. And you know what I have on it? Under it? This. Like, this is what I wear at Christmas. I mean, everywhere we go. Me dressing up, nobody looks at me when I walk in. It's usually a darker restaurant. Nobody's like, oh, that motherfucker's got on tennis shoes. It's very rare. I don't do any luxury shit anymore. I have a closet full of luxury shit. I don't use any of it right now. DJ Guzman. Like, because I'd rather spend money on a gym. Like, I have a gym, right? I'd rather do that. What advice will you give a guy who just got dumped by his girlfriend? Go fuck her sister. Like, you're lucky you don't have a sister. I'd have banged the shit out of your sister.
Yeah.
Go find another one. Like, do you even want her, right? Did she leave you and you want her back because she left you? Is she out fucking someone else, or is she at home waiting for you? What's the real answer? Not the answer you want. The truthful answer. You know what that answer is. Go find another one. Go start over. Obviously, some shit's bad if she left. Go fucking find another one. Occupy yourself with other shit. Make yourself better.
That's what I was gonna say.
Make yourself better, and not to get her back. When you in the process of making yourself better, you will find a better one. What's your answer?
I was going to say, figure out how you can improve yourself And
so the next one doesn't leave you.
Well, so that you're just a more better partner, or you will attract a better partner. If you sit and you focus on this one that left, you're not going to progress in any way, shape, or form. And you're just going to be stuck like Chuck. But if you're like, hey, it's time to go to the gym, or I'm going to eat better, or I'm going to manage my money better, or whatever the case may be, that will give you something to focus on to deal with the hurt of the one that just left.
Stay too busy to hurt.
And then you will attract something better.
Yeah, just fucking stay busy, man. Just stay busy. Go get your ass a gym membership. Start going to the gym. Go places where there are people. Make new friends. Not her fucking friends.
Yeah,
Do
not
not
her
go
friends.
where her friends are. Stay the fuck away from her.
Stay off of her fucking social media.
Yeah, get off her social media. Block her so that you can't ever see it pop up. Get her the fuck out of there. And don't pursue that. If she will come back, if it's meant to be, if it's going to happen, she'll come back. It might be a year, it might be 2 years later. Her and I broke up. I hated this bitch when I met her. Like, hated her. She's lucky she was so dirty. And she wouldn't take no for an answer.
And I'm not fucking crazy.
No,
That's
she's
the
crazy.
other part.
She's crazy. A hairdresser is like a stripper with less drug problems. She's fucking nuts. She's crazy.
I have a side note question.
I am not crazy.
What do you think about hairdresser versus like stylist or something? Because I always say hairdresser because that makes them sound crazier. You know, like go see your hairdresser or something like that. Yeah.
You know, I did hair in an era that it didn't matter.
Mhm.
Whether you called me a cosmetologist or a hairdresser, a stylist, a hair cutter, a barber, none of it mattered. I mean,
You just did what you did.
Yeah, that was my
I'm
art.
a body sculptor. You lift weights, bro.
Exactly. Well, I'm like really into like how people say specific things. Like I like words, you know.
I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
What I'm gonna say whatever the fuck I want to say.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And you can have your feelings hurt, or you can fucking just understand that I'm saying it how I say it.
Yeah.
You know, all those terms are all the same thing.
Uh-huh.
You do hair.
I call
Whether whether you color it or you cut it, one or the other, it's all encompassing. You do all of it.
I knew this crack whore. She's a dancer. Like that's what they're all fucking nuts. I mean,
Uh-huh.
whether she what is it? What's the modern day term for stripper?
Dancer,
Is it really?
Adult entertainer.
adult
Is that
entertainer,
what it is?
exotic dancer. Yeah,
How did you meet Amanda? I'm guessing it wasn't Tinder.
Tinder didn't even exist. I don't think there was even a dating app back then.
I don't think there was apps.
we didn't even have cell
internet.
phones.
Yeah, we didn't have internet.
We didn't even have cell phones.
It was
back then.
you had to talk to people, and if you literally walked up to chicks and you're like, "Yo, baby, you want to fuck in the parking lot?" Like, you have 1 out of 10 might say yes, right? So if you ask 100, 5 are definitely fucking in the parking lot. So I mean, you can calibrate it wherever you want it. Hey, you want me to put some babies in you tonight? Like whatever you're, and you can say it silly or whatever, but it's just numbers. If you talk to them, because most people won't approach them like that. So I mean, that's almost how I met you.
Yeah, so I was in beauty school. I was standing by my car at lunchtime, and him and his friend drove by, and he was sitting in the passenger seat.
I was taking my other girlfriend home.
You were not. It was a dude in the car. It was a
Go
two-seater
ahead.
car.
She was in my lap.
Liar. But, so he drove by, and he caught my eye, so I followed him with my eyes, so that they turned around, came back, and he gets out of the car, and he's like, "Hey, I saw you checking me out. Here's my card. Give me a call when you get off, and I'll tell you where we're going tonight."
And I made her pregnant 4 times that night.
He tried.
All right, guys, that's all the questions for this week. We're recording this on Thursday. We're just going to be completely swamped tomorrow. So, and we only did them to Thunderdome this week, right? So these are all Thunderdome members. So we'll go through here and pick a couple of the ones we like the best. If you didn't like the way I answered your question, then
Ask it again.
stop being a pussy. And I don't know. Ask. I mean, I really don't have enough information when you guys do a lot of these to give you a truth. Like, do I give you a funny answer? Do I need to just like stop being a bitch? Like, where like the dude that his chick just dumped him. How long were you with her, right? The thing I always see dudes when I get and I find it weird that guys ask me because I'm the worst fucking person to give you relationship advice. Like I'll have every one of you fucking divorced by the end of the week. But guys are always like, I'm like, just forget all about her. Go do something. But these kids, like, they're her kids. They're not your kids. No matter what you're doing, they're not your kids. And you know what your dumbass is going to end up with? You're going to end up paying child support on some fucking kids that ain't your fucking kids. Mm-hmm. And she's going to be out fucking a bunch of other dudes and have a bunch more kids while you're babysitting her fucking kids is what happens with that shit. Do not fucking show weakness. Go live your fucking life. That's the real answer. That really is the answer.
But all I was thinking about with that was I wouldn't want to be with somebody who didn't want to be with me. So if they left, there's no hurt because it would feel worse for them to like hate their life living with me. Mm-hmm. Now I'm free. I can go find somebody else, you know?
All right. That's it.
Cool.
That's a wrap.
Yeah, man, I'm talking about realest, one of the realest to try. My family, SOE, got the tools to survive. Yeah. I don't